Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back in another video from 6, and today we are checking out Healthy Itachi versus Madara. That's the one. Check the titles for it. So this is an interesting one. A lot of people always said that the only reason they killed Itachi off was because he would have been able to beat Madara. A lot of people also argue that okay, fair, Itachi was ill, so Madara would probably win. But what if Itachi was healthy? I still think Madara's got this, but we'll see what 6 has to say. 'Cause I'm not the power scaler here. Six is the man when it comes to this. Let's check it out.
So I thought this would be fun to do, a fun video to do, because whenever Itachi versus Madara gets brung up, like pretty much within any context, whenever Itachi versus Madara gets brung up, the common response would be, well, but what if Itachi was healthier?
Yeah.
What if Itachi didn't have that sickness? Then how would the fight really go? And a lot of people are like, well, we never saw a healthy Itachi. Whenever Itachi's healthy, bro, he should be like unstoppable. He should be a menace. He could take down any Uchiha. And I think that not only have we sort of seen a healthy Itachi, we also should have a pretty good gauge on how strong he would be, especially in comparison to Madara whenever you actually read through the story. So the main thing about Itachi would obviously be like his spirit weapons and genjutsu.
Yeah, the Yadamura and the Tosca blade. Is that what it's called? There's some pretty mad OP abilities that he's got there. But yeah.
I don't think a lot of people think too much that Itachi is putting the hands on Madara even when he's healthy, right? I think people mostly get the idea that, oh, Yadamir can block anything, Tosca Blade can seal anything, and Tsukuyomi can just instantly
He has
wipe
got
people
quite
off
an
the face of the
arsenal.
earth by, mentally crippling them. The thing about Itachi and most of the statements for a lot of his gear and a lot of his abilities, I'm gonna just be 100% blatant, not gonna make anyone wait at all.
Okay.
They're pretty much all outdated.
And
The biggest example of this would be the Yada mirror.
okay.
The mirror, the shield that can deflect anything by altering its physical properties. Those specific statements come from either Fan Book 2 or Data Book 3, both of which precede Madara's introduction into the manga.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, so it didn't take into consideration how right.
And Data Book 3 on the back of it directly tells you that it's only talking about information prior to volume 43.
Yeah, I had that. I sold it, but that was an interesting one. But they don't number them, so that was the third data book. Interesting. Oh yeah, because I had the official data book for Naruto Part One. Then, uh,
So anything past volume 43, you really can't apply the information in Data Book 3 to,
makes
unless
sense.
it gets repeated later on down the line, right? We know that in Data Book 3, Kakashi can use Kamui, but we also know that after volume 43, Kakashi can use Kamui. So a lot of the
Yeah,
things you can't retroactively apply because the data book tells you what its knowledge is limited to. But that's gonna be the main premise going into this video. I would appreciate if you would, subscribe to the channel or leave a like on the video. Obviously helps the channel out a lot. About Itachi versus Madara, when it comes to Itachi's main gear, like I said, a lot of the statements are outdated, and then they get superseded by later statements that either say Madara is the strongest Uchiha, or if not outright stated, they just very heavily imply it. Now, it's important to establish a variant of Madara that we're talking about, because
yeah,
nobody talks about Itachi versus MS Madara from the Warring States period. No one talks about Itachi versus Kid Madara. The main debates are Itachi versus either EMS Madara whenever he fought Hashirama in the final
right.
battle,
Okay, yeah.
or Itachi versus Edo Madara whenever he was obviously revived in the Fourth War.
Okay.
I'm not going to be going over any Itachi versus Jubi Madara or Sage Madara, Live Madara with the Rinnegan, none of that stuff,
Yeah, I don't think Itachi's got a chance there, but
because Itachi has absolutely, to my knowledge, zero way to counter Limbo at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
So I don't think that fight's even really worth entertaining for the most part. As well as like, like he's not beating Jubi Madara.
No, no,
It's
it's
just,
not. No.
I think that's going too far at that point. So when you put Itachi up against healthy Itachi, by the way, we're going to be talking about mostly healthy Itachi throughout the entire video. I'm obviously going to have to bring up feats from sick Itachi and Edo Itachi because healthy Itachi doesn't exist. But when I mention them, just know that you should upscale them a little bit because I'm talking about healthy Itachi.
Healthy Itachi, yeah.
So whenever Itachi's doing something, the common thing to go into an Itachi fight with is Itachi is holding back and toying with this person.
Oh yeah.
That is completely fair. That's a completely fair mindset going into reading an Itachi fight, because most of the fights we see, we either have a direct statement that he's holding back, or you can just imply it through some form of like a Konoha spy argument.
Yeah, like the narrative.
The only fight where it seems Itachi didn't show enough restraint was whenever he put Kakashi under Tsukuyomi. That move has always been a little bit weird to me. Like, I don't know why he decided that he was gonna mentally cripple Kakashi, but
Yeah, a bit OTT, isn't it? When like he's actually like secretly still working for the village, and then he just absolutely like mind wrecks Kakashi. Yeah,
whatever. So that's the only time Itachi didn't show what I would say is enough restraint to show that he's like actually holding back.
Yeah.
In the fight though, he does constantly bring up how he doesn't want to stay too long because him and Kisame aren't there to start a war, whatever. So then you get to Itachi versus Sasuke, in which directly stated by Obito, hey look, Itachi was holding back on you. And then it's implied with Zetsu throughout the whole fight, hey, Itachi is holding back.
Yeah.
Why is Itachi getting hit by attacks that Itachi shouldn't be getting hit by? It's also sort of apparent that Itachi's holding back on Sasuke as the fight progresses, because Itachi later pulls out his Susanoo while he's blind.
Yeah, you can't even see what he's doing.
Kills Orochimaru extremely quickly in his strongest form, where Orochimaru in just base is stronger than Sasuke, even with Orochimaru absorbed.
Yeah, so it just shows straight away, doesn't it? That scaling straight away. It's like Orochimaru is stronger than Sasuke in that form that he's in, and Itachi just, without being able to see what he's doing, just takes him out.
Sasuke's Orochimaru absorption does not amplify him physically. What it mainly does is give him like regen and access to new jutsu, because Sasuke is sitting there, this in the Itachi fight, he's sitting there completely out of chakra. He's sitting there completely out of chakra, no chakra at all. And Orochimaru busts out of him in his strongest form we've ever seen. The data book said this is literally Orochimaru's strongest form we've ever seen. So it's impossible that Sasuke is as strong as Orochimaru. I mean, he even admits that himself, right? Like, he says the only reason I beat Orochimaru is because he was sick. So,
right, yeah,
it just becomes apparent that Itachi was holding back on Sasuke whenever he beats Orochimaru, because Orochimaru is just clearly stronger than Sasuke
at the time, yeah.
And Itachi at this point, he has no Sharingan on, and he's in his Susanoo, just
blind,
easily defeats Orochimaru. Then you get to like the Naruto area, like whenever he encounters Naruto in the forest to give him the crow, extremely clear he's holding back there. He's not even really trying to fight.
Damn.
And then he's holding back in the Kabuto fight in a specific way. Not really that he's not trying his hardest to stop Kabuto, but he's trying his hardest to stop Kabuto without killing Kabuto. And what that leads to is Itachi never fully manifests his Susanoo in the cave with Sasuke. It's always lower form so that he can either pin Kabuto down or something along those lines. He's never actually going full power on him. The only time we see Itachi sort of go full power on an opponent would be Edo Nagato, and I don't want to get too much into Edo Nagato versus Edo Itachi, because I don't want to make this video all about that.
No.
Itachi does kind of just beat him up, right? Like, regardless of how you think Itachi beat Nagato up, if you don't think he actually scales over him, whatever, that much is perfectly fine. You don't have to think that Itachi is stronger than Nagato. I'm just saying, whenever Itachi did try, we saw him beat Nagato up. He cut his limbs off, and then when he fully manifested his Susanoo, he just stabbed him. That part's a little bit contentious, whether or not you thought Nagato could see through the smoke. I don't think that it's impossible he could see through the smoke, considering the fact that the pains caught Jiraiya's hand while Jiraiya was in the smoke.
Yeah.
And that pain couldn't see. So the Rinnegan being able to see through smoke isn't too outrageous, but yeah, I'm just saying. Whenever we see Itachi go all out, fully manifest his Susanoo, he's obviously, stronger than he would be before. The Tosca Blade is Itachi's #1 asset against Madara, especially Edo Madara, because as we know, Itachi does not have any sealing jutsu that we know of, other than that Tosca Blade.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much his like fail safe against Edo Madara, and the only real way that he's gonna be able to beat him. Now you could say that he could maybe physically overwhelm EMS Madara, because the Tosca Blade, while it doesn't have to seal you away, it can cut you up. So maybe he could physically overwhelm him with that, but
Right, yeah.
mainly that's going to be the most important thing, because EMS Madara can also absorb a Matarasu, and it's debatable whether or not he can use the Rinnegan to absorb the Susanoo off of Itachi.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, that's
We
an
see that
interesting
Madara
one.
does
Yeah, because he can absorb stuff with the Rinnegan. Oh, could you imagine? Just like, it just stands there and just goes, ah, it's gone. Jesus.
say that his Susanoo gets in the way of him absorbing things. That does not necessarily mean that he can't absorb someone else's Susanoo. Maybe it's sort of a restriction thing, like, oh, you can't absorb your own Susanoo. We don't get too much clarification on it, and we do know that the Rinnegan can amplify your Susanoo just by Sasuke being able to block the light from the infinite Tsukuyomi by saying he has this ramped up Rinnegan amp Susanoo. So it's a little bit unclear if Madara could absorb his Susanoo, but he should, at the bare
Might
minimum,
be able to.
absorb his Amaterasu. And
Yeah.
then Itachi might use Tsukuyomi on Madara, but I think it's sort of implied that Itachi needs to build up his chakra a bit if he's going to do a big Tsukuyomi. So we talk about in the fight with Sasuke, we know that Sasuke was able to break Tsukuyomi because it's just directly stated in the data books. Itachi got his Tsukuyomi broken by Heavy Sasuke, who just has a base 3 Tomo Sharingan that should be weaker than Madara's at this point, especially weaker than Madara's Rinnegan. So it's possible to break Tsukuyomi. Sasuke did it, and Madara's got better control over his dojutsu. And the reason I think that Itachi has to sort of build up to the bigger Tsukuyomis is whenever we see him using in part 1, we can tell that Kakashi's able to see him building chakra in his eye. That's why he tells Asuma and Kurenai to close their eye. So he's building up that chakra for a minute, then he puts Kakashi under, and he's extremely tired after that. He's extremely fatigued after that.
Yeah.
To the point where he has to retreat from Guy and the rest of the Konoha ninja.
Yeah, but is that to do with the illness, though? Like,
When before, he was literally just toying with them and winning. So whenever he uses it on Sasuke, there doesn't seem to be a time dilation on it. Because we know Itachi can control space, he can control time, but when you have the Sharingan or the Mangekyo Sharingan, Madara has both, you can resist the Genjutsu to some extent. So he doesn't seem to build it up versus Sasuke, and then there's no time dilation, Sasuke ends up breaking it. So if Madara sees Itachi building up the chakra for a Tsukuyomi, that leaves him, I'm not gonna say it leaves him wide open, but it leaves him open to getting attacked. Because we've never seen Itachi use jutsu while preparing to do a Tsukuyomi.
okay.
A lot of people don't know, but the first part of Itachi versus Sasuke is almost completely Genjutsu. We almost don't get to see any actual real fighting there. It's
Yeah, they
almost
keep
all
switching
Genjutsu.
and stuff, doesn't he? Like, Sasuke
Even
thinks
the
she
shirt-
stabbed him with the sword, and then he's like, no, it's crows, and everything's just crows. There's crows everywhere. You're just fighting crows.
Freaking throwing they were doing, that was all Genjutsu. So we don't ever get to see Itachi actually cast jutsu while building up for Tsukuyomi. So it's possible that while he's building up for Tsukuyomi, he has to sort of stall with other things, and if not stall, then maybe just put fear into his opponents, like what he did with Kurenai, Asuma, and Kakashi, where Kakashi was just so scared he just close your eyes. He didn't actually try to go attack him or anything. Now Amaterasu like I mentioned earlier, would get absorbed by Edo Madara. But when comparing it to EMS Madara, especially maybe an even hotter Madarasu, given how strong Itachi is when he's healthy, or how much stronger he should be, even a possibly stronger Madarasu might actually be able to burn Madara. We do know that all the Uchiha to some degree have a level of high heat resistance because their fire
Yeah,
style
they
that
use
they
fire
build up
style.
in
I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? Like, because if your body's producing that kind of like fire, so you need to have some sort of kind of resistance to it to be able to like throw it out there at someone.
their chest and whatnot, the fire style they build up actually burns them, or it can, and then they expel it, right? Because we know this because Sasuke, when he was a kid, he's training for to master his fire style. He has to get some salve put on his cheeks because he burned his cheeks and whatnot.
Bless.
So the
Makes
Uchiha
sense.
have some level of heat resistance. However, it's supposed to be like incomparable to the amount of heat the Amaterasu can actually put off. So I wouldn't imagine that Madara could just physically tank an Amaterasu. But it is important to note, if Itachi uses a Amaterasu, he gets fatigued more than Tsukuyomi. He
Okay.
mentions this when he's running away from Jiraiya, when he's fighting with Kisame. He says, not just the Tsukuyomi, but I was forced to use the Amaterasu as well. Or he says something along those lines. He doesn't, I don't think he says forced to use, but he says I had to use the Amaterasu as well. And that's what's taking me down. He's like, I need to rest for a few days.
Yeah, but again, like, is it the illness that's like making him so fatigued when he's doing all this stuff? Then like,
So I do acknowledge that it's not the only thing he used. However, he highlights it as the thing that probably used the most chakra. So if he gets that off, and then let's say he misses, or Madara is able to summon his Susanoo arm to block it, Itachi probably isn't going to be able to just keep shooting those off.
yeah, just keep blasting,
Right.
spamming it. Yeah.
I think the most we've seen him shoot is 4 against Sasuke, maybe 5. But in that fight, we know he's trying to waste chakra to make it believable that Sasuke could actually beat him, because he don't want Sasuke to figure out who he actually is or whatever, right? So it's possibly just wasting chakra there. So I don't think Itachi would just waste chakra firing them over and over at Madara, especially if Itachi sees that Madara can just block it with the Susanoo arm. I did mention how I thought we should have a pretty good gauge of Itachi's skill. That comes from the statement where Tobirama says the Edo Tensei nowadays, this improved Edo Tensei, will revive close to their original power. Now we do know that this doesn't mean that Itachi is close to his sick power or
Right.
below his sick power, because sick Itachi is directly stated to be weaker than EMS Sasuke, because it says that when Sasuke transplants Itachi's eyes, his techniques and eye techniques surpass that of Itachi's. But then we see Edo Itachi performing on par with or better than EMS Sasuke.
Yeah.
So that means that Itachi is stronger than he was as he was a sick man. So Edo Itachi should be close in power to healthy Itachi. Basically, the idea I'm getting at here is Itachi is not going to be much stronger as quote unquote healthy Itachi as a lot of people would like to assume. Like, it's not like he's going to be double the strength of Edo Itachi or
Right.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
The most you can imply, since Tobirama says close, like let's just lowball it to 51% is close to him. Like it's closer to than further away. So 51% is close to Tobirama, right? So the most you could apply is Edo Itachi would get maybe a 49% boost off of being healthy and alive, right? In that case, I guess it is sort of close to 2 times or whatever. But I don't think it's enough to make up the difference between him and Madara, because like I said earlier, EMS Sasuke somewhat comparable to Itachi, and Sasuke gets stronger multiple times. We see him get the curse mark amp from Jugo on his Susanoo, which can be between 2 to 10 times as far as we know, and he still doesn't catch up to Madara. So it's pretty unlikely that Itachi, after gaining that amp that may be close to 2 times amp, would be strong enough to take down Madara. I mean, especially when you consider the fact that Sasuke On top of Jugo's amp, got an amp from Naruto's Kurama chakra as well.
As well, yeah.
So he's got the Kurama cloak, Naruto helping him, and Jugo. He still supposedly doesn't catch up to Madara. So yeah, I wouldn't doubt that Itachi, after getting these amps, still wouldn't be able to beat Madara. Madara's probably still just the strongest Uchiha. Madara, if he needs to put down this Itachi, obviously he can just physically overwhelm him. It's not like he's an Edo Tensei or anything like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And other than that, have a nice day.
Sweet, yeah. So I kind of figured, like, you know, yeah, Itachi doesn't have it. Like, I've started to like look at it realistically now because, like, obviously, you guys know I'm a huge Itachi fan and a huge Minato fan. And whenever I see verses with like these guys, I'm always like, they gotta win. But then it's like, pair them up against people like Madara. It's like, come on, come on. So yeah, that was a really good look at why Itachi wouldn't win and stuff. I still feel like some things though, like when he's saying the Amaterasu and all that, like, but he fatigue him when he's using it, and you know. But then it's like, the illness, was it the illness or was it the technique? But yeah, that was cool. And thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, link in the description to the Patreon page. $1 more for support channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very much for that, and thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you're ready. Leave comments down below. Let me know if I should watch this in future videos. I'll see you guys. All you guys, near damn.